Okay, Elizabeth, you've got the idea. Um, Definitely, you've got the idea. It looks good. The composition looks good. I think it's telling a story. It's cute. It's got a nice little narrative. This guy's got a little movement. He seems kind of clumsy. It's very cute. I mean, I can totally see this working as a representative toy for Eclipse Entertainment. Totally see it. That said, I think there's some issues in the file itself that need to be addressed. Okay, the first and most obvious is the file size. Don't forget these are supposed to be 300 res images. I don't know what your individual images are, but this background image is, or the actual file itself, I should say, is set, as we can see, it's 17.7 by 10 at 72 ppi, while the actual recommendations, or I'm sorry, the actual requirements are 8 by 10 at 300 ppi. So you'll have to definitely do some adjustments there. Another thing that it really is a pretty serious observation is the fact that you're not using any layer masks. And this assignment is specifically requires layer masks on every one of the pieces parts used to put your creature together. This will have to be recomposed using layer masks. In other words, I should come over here and be able to turn the layer mask off, and the background, for example, if the sausage, the background should appear. Okay, so, or the eggs, if the eggs came from a frying pan, then we turn the mask off and there's the frying pan. And that is what is known as non-destructive workflow in Photoshop. And that's what we've talked about during weeks 3 and week 4, specifically week 4. I think that you've done some really good things as far as composition goes. The food, Flippin' Food Fred's, the Flip. It's actually Flippin'. It's Flippin', F-O-I-P-P-I-N. Just to be technical about it, it's not flipping, it's Flippin'. So Flippin' Foods Fred type looks good, and I think the idea is good on the background. It's just that the composition is wrong. The orientation should be 8 by 10. So you'll have to really figure out a way that you can find an image that would tell the same type of story. I almost kind of want to see this guy more in a diner or something, because this looks like a pretty exclusive place that he's in here, and he's just bacon and eggs with spilling coffee. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this seems a little high end for him. So I want to get in here a little bit closely, because there's a couple of things I want to point out that we cannot use. These look like illustrations of eggs. They look like, when I say illustration, I mean vector illustrations. So does the coffee. The coffee is clearly an illustration. It's not an image. It's not a picture. Nobody shot this with a camera. And that's what we need for the eggs and the coffee. That you can't use illustrations in this piece. If we were going to use illustrations, we would just do it in Illustrator, right? But since we're using images and trying to use some blending and some other techniques to make it more believable, we definitely need to use actual images. If this were an image of the coffee, I would say this mask right here is showing, and I don't know how you got rid of the background on the coffee, but presumably you erased it. And don't forget that is what would be considered a destructive workflow. In other words, you've damaged pixels in the making of this composition, and we don't want to do that. For that reason, this has to be masked out. And in the mask, I would say you have to get rid of all of the background, not just where it gets into the black. You can clearly see the original background right through those coffee droplets. Okay. Other than that, I think the shadow itself, it's not really working because it's more of a drop shadow. So it's indicating distance between him and the flat plane of the image that he sits in front of, as opposed to creating a realistic shadow that would be depicted by the way it falls on the counter below him. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's covered. That technique is covered in I think it's in week 4. Task 2 overview, I believe. Yeah, it's there. It's covered. It's in there. So check that out. Okay, and those would be my recommendations. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you need any help or moving forward, please feel free to let me know. All right, thank you.